Hey there, guys. It's Kevin. I'm tuning in again. Was going to talk today a little bit about something that confused me, and I've heard confusion from others, and that is socialism. So I will quickly just present an analogy with a couple options, and then we can see which one is more moral, more ethical, which one just makes us feel a little better. So the first option is if we had a family raising their kids. Let's say it's only the father can work and the mother has to stay home and raise the kids and everything. The father has to produce income, and that income goes off to the mother and the children, in a socialistic way. He is sharing his wealth so that they can have food and a home, protection, necessities, clothing, things of that nature, as opposed to, let's say, a family where the person making the income decides that he wants to keep it all for himself. Everybody has to go work for their own, even if they're 2 years old, little toddler, and he doesn't care whether or not they suffer because he wants the profit and the income for himself. And so I'm sure if you asked a lot of Christians or conservatives, or anybody in that matter, 99.9% of them would say, no, I support the family where the father is willing to sacrifice his income so that his children can grow up healthy and happy and successfully compete in society when they come to that age. They would not support the parent who decides to buy an expensive sports car while their kids walk to school with potatoes for shoes. And so for me, in that sense, socialism really, to me, reaches out for a solution for the long-term economic results of what we want America to be, and that is successful. You need to have a long-term end game that includes helping people who are incapable of helping themselves, such as children, or perhaps people in the workforce who lost their jobs and don't have health care, or don't work at a job that provides health care for the kind of hours they work. Maybe they needed only one more hour per week to qualify for health care or benefits, but they don't have that, and the employers choose to ignore the fact that they should, in the sense that they don't really care about future incoming generations. So for me, a lot of the confusion between that and very complicated economic story of how capitalism is established in our society and how socialism is also established in our society and through history is being necessary to help the people. So it confuses me a lot why, for instance, a conservative might say, oh, I hate socialists because they just want to get everything for free and they don't want to work a day in their lives. But then they would support the father who is willing to sacrifice part of his income so that his family can grow up and survive. Um, and that perhaps maybe you can use this analogy to kind of quantify what socialism means, in a sense, for people on a more personal, simplistic scale, as opposed to something that would be much more complicated with a society of 300 plus million people. I'm almost certain that if we understand the concept of socialism in its most basic root form, as sharing and combining, then we could understand that most conservatives are socialists. If they ever had a family, they are socialists. If they are alive today, it's because their parents were socialists in some form or another. Um, the root word in Latin, sociare, is literally to mean to combine or to share. So if I were to say social distancing as opposed to physical distancing, I've heard people talk about maybe we need to change the words. It just kind of proves to me a little bit more about how even younger generations in America today are confused about what socialism means to them, and perhaps they take on a biased stigma that they get from their media without really understanding what the concept is. And for me, the concept is rooted in its most simplistic form. If I have more than someone else, and I'm willing to share it, then it helps both of us, and that makes us both stronger. You know, if I know something at work that someone else doesn't, and I don't tell them, and then they go on to make mistakes, and then the company has economic issues, and then they have to lay off people. It could be rooted in the fact that I wasn't willing to share my own knowledge and experience, which in capitalism is like the go-to, where you don't never share your secrets with anybody. You step on everybody's neck to get where you want to go, and you ignore any sense of morality in order to get there. Yeah, so perhaps if you can um, play with these analogies, let me know what you think about them. Maybe even use them in conversations as your own. I'd appreciate that. Let me know some feedback, and I hope to post some other crazy stuff later. Thanks.